What's up, everybody? This is Jose.
And Katie!
On today's video, we're going to be looking at some recent immigration-related arrests straight out of Tampa, Florida. This stuff is crazy. You ready to go through these?
I'm ready.
This guy right here committed one of the worst crimes I've ever seen. He's a Cuban. And Katie, what's his occupation?
He's the Uber driver you don't want.
This guy is listing his occupation as an Uber driver, and they actually put him on an ICE immigration hold. Now, being Cuban, it's really hard to off the bat get the ICE immigration hold, so we know what he did was horrendous. His first charge was
aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, firearm discharge.
He also had a charge for second-degree murder with a firearm. He was also charged with
shooting from a vehicle.
So this guy's an Uber driver. He's shooting from a vehicle in an attempted murder. That's freaking wild. Can you imagine you get into an Uber and the driver decides to get into a shooting to whack somebody?
That would be one scary Uber ride.
Dude, that's terrifying. Remember the Uber driver that we had in Tampa?
I wonder if it was this guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it was this guy. We had an Uber driver in Tampa that decided to stalk us. We decided that we didn't want to cancel the ride. He messaged us to cancel the ride, and we're like, no, we're not canceling it. If you want to cancel it, you have to do it. So he decided to stalk us for the rest of the day. He knew what our final destination was, and he went there and waited for us. Katie, I wouldn't doubt it was this guy right here. That sounds like right up the same alley.
Yeah, it sounds like something this guy would do.
Dude, Uber drivers in Tampa are freaking terrifying. I'm going to assume that if he's driving for Uber, he's not illegal. I would hope, right?
I would hope.
Right. So, like, this guy probably wasn't illegal, but his crime was so horrendous that they decided to deport him. Like, that's crazy to think that the guy wasn't illegal, and they were like, you know what? He's got to go. Check this guy out, Katie. He's 19 years old. He's already a felon, and he was arrested for possession of a machine gun in Tampa.
Sounds like a wonderful young man.
Probably not deportable. This is a U.S. citizen for sure. Look at this young lady right here, Katie. She's 22 years old. She's already a felon in possession of a firearm and ammunition. U.S. citizen, not deportable.
She really got a bright start to her adult life.
This guy's Brian. He was arrested in Tampa for selling the fent. What do you think about this young man right here, Katie?
He's got some nice hair. You can tell he's devoted to his hairline.
This guy right here is a Cuban citizen, and he was arrested for possession of cannabis. That's it. Imagine getting deported just for that. Imagine being back in Cuba like all the other deported people. Some of them stole dump trucks. Some of them were running credit card theft rings, and they ask him, what do you get deported for? I just had a little bit of...
He's definitely going to have to lie about why he got deported.
Yeah, he's going to have to come up with a better story to explain back home on that one. He gets back to Cuba, his grandma, ay, mi niña, ¿por qué te deportaron? He's going to have to be like, oh, me robó un avión, abuela. Ah, sí, yo me enteré que tú estabas altísimo.
Baby, what'd you say?
Oh, he told his grandma he stole an airplane, and she said, yeah, I heard you were very high up. Katie, you live in the United States. You're going to have to learn Spanish.
I know.
Talking about Cubans, this guy's name is Ricky Ricardo.
Man, he just needs a white woman with red hair named Lucy, and he's all set.
Yeah, he's not going to get that because he's being arrested for battery. So I think a Ricky Ricardo's got to have a lot nicer personality than that. Cuban citizen driving under the influence. Is he crying in that photo?
I don't know. He looks like he had too much Havana Club.
While he keeps this up, he's going to be able to join the Havana Club soon. The Tampa Police Department did a great job arresting this individual who had a concealed firearm for his protection.
He needs to protect himself from mirrors.
I think as a society, we need to protect ourselves from him by locking him up.
Definitely.
This woman listed as a Cuban national was arrested for battery in Tampa.
Is that one of your aunts?
I wouldn't doubt it. She looks like she'd put up a fight. This Cuban woman right here in Tampa was arrested for using a credit card that wasn't hers. If that's not the most Cuban thing I've ever heard.
She must have had one heck of a shopping spree.
Well, she's about to find out what the shopping looks like at the Mercado do Chivo in Havana down there when she gets deported.
I've been to the shopping mall in Camel Way. It probably isn't much better.
I can't understand a word. She's like, I've been to the shop of powder pack a pay down there. Don't hit me. This Cuban was arrested in Tampa for a high-speed chase, possession, and a suspended driver's license. This Cuban was arrested in Tampa for exploiting the elderly and grand theft.
He's elderly himself.
This is sadly a very common charge among the Cuban community. We've seen arrests in Miami and Hialeah for Cubans doing this exact thing. Usually they'll have elderly parents and then they'll start taking their SSI money and it gets really nasty.
Remember that homeless man you interviewed in Miami?
Oh yeah, where his kids took his house and left him on the streets. This guy's name is Digon Cuba and he was arrested in Tampa for resisting.
How do you get arrested for resisting and that's your only charge?
I never got that. Like, you're just resisting an officer, but then you had no other charges. This Cuban woman was arrested for no valid driver's license and having prescriptions that she wasn't supposed to. This Tampa man was arrested and put in a green turtle suit for grand theft of a fire extinguisher.
Why do you get in a turtle suit for a fire extinguisher?
Okay, so why do you steal a fire extinguisher in the first place? Like, he doesn't look like he cares about fire safety too much anyways.
He's got me scratching my head.
This is probably the worst person on today's video. He was arrested for photos he wasn't supposed to have and committing a battery, a particular type of battery, on family members, children.
This is the guy who needs to be deported, not the rest of the people on this video.
Well, no, some of these people do need to get deported. Okay, I know you're kind of a liberal turd and you want to keep people here that are criminals, but
this guy needs to get deported to outer space.
No, she's like a little liberal turd over here. She's like, don't deport these criminals. I'm like, no, yes, they have to go, Katie. Yeah, I don't think any country will accept this guy anyways.
Outer space without a spacesuit.
Yeah, we'll put him out there in space without a spacesuit. And by the way, we're not roasting the person, we're roasting the crime. Let's get that understood. All right, Katie, so you would want to keep that Uber driver here in the United States?
No, but I'd rather have him than people who hurt children.
No, you said we shouldn't deport these people. That's what you said right there. I heard you say it. That's what you said it.
I know, I did say it.
She did say
but
it.
But that is despicable.
Okay. No, you said we shouldn't deport these criminals. Like, you literally said we shouldn't deport these criminals.
Out of all of them, this is the worst guy.
And by the way, there is no Uber in Cuba, so that got really messed up right there. And on top of that, why is he armed? That's the other thing. Like, you're a recent arrival, you're Uber driving. You're not supposed to be armed if you're Uber driving. It goes against their policies. Of course, most Uber drivers disregard that for their safety. But at the end of the day, like, why are you armed? If you're a recent arrival, why are you armed? Like, have you even thought about that? Like, this guy just comes over here and all of a sudden he's armed. Like, how does that even happen? Like, why is he armed?
Well, I guess he's the next bicycle taxi of Cuba.
Yeah, maybe he can exert himself physically on one of those bicycle taxis in Cuba, and then he won't have to have, like, anger at a vent on the road because he'll be so exhausted from pedaling. You know, a lot of these people that are carrying don't need to carry. You got all these idiots that advocate everybody should have a gun. No, some people should not have a gun. Had he not had a gun, he'd be in Tampa right now Uber driving people and, like, flirting with passengers and stuff like that.
Let me catch you flirting with an Uber passenger.
Ow! Why you hit me? I didn't even do anything.
Preemptive.
Oh, did I show you the video of the girl that was trying to kiss me recently on Uber? I'll show you have you seen the video? Don't choke. Strangulation is a felony.
I'm trying to hug you.
No, you're not. You're trying to strangle me. Hold on, dude. Ow, don't bite.
You show me that video and I'll be catching a felony case right now.
Okay, I wasn't trying to kiss her. She was trying to kiss me and I pushed her away. So why am I getting hit for what somebody else does? Okay, I don't understand why you're hitting me for what somebody else did.
Because I'm not married to them, I'm married to you.
But I pushed her away. Look at the video. Come here, look at this. Watch. Why are you strangling me? This guy could have been picking up drunk white girls at the Extreme Taco, and now he's getting deported. This guy's a U.S. citizen. He was arrested for dealing in stolen property on the internet. Does the Craigslist website still exist?
I think they've upgraded to Facebook Marketplace where you can see the photo, and I would avoid this dude.
Yeah, at least on Facebook Marketplace, you get to see a photo of the person throwing up gang signs and waving $10 bills. So on Craigslist, it was a complete surprise. You got a Jake, and you didn't know if it was going to be like a nice Jake or a 14-year-old kid gangbanging down there. At least on Facebook Marketplace, you get that photo option. Use a little bit of discretion. I always, like, when I get a Facebook Marketplace post, I'll always click on the photo. And if it's like a gangbanger throwing up gang signs, you're not coming to look at my Cadillac. And then the other charge he had was like burglary from a house under $40, which I didn't know it was a crime. So like he just broke into somebody's house and all he got was like something under $40. I didn't even know that was a crime. Like you could get burglary under $40. What was he selling? Like a freaking speaker box or something? Like he broke into a house and the only thing he could find was like $40.
What was it? An empty house? They had one thing.
No, like can you imagine like what type of broke house he broke into? Where imagine getting arrested for a $40. I didn't know that was a charge in Florida. That's a real charge. It's burglary under $40.
He needs to find a better neighborhood to break into houses.
Well, he can't afford an Uber to a better part of town. Like, that's all there is in his neighborhood. Like, that's the only option he had right there.
He has the option to walk, but apparently
He didn't even have
he
didn't even have internet. He had to like walk to his neighbor's house for Wi-Fi to post this thing. And then think about like the circumstances of how he got caught, right? Like, I'm sure somebody was like on the Facebook Marketplace and was like, "Isn't that my GoPro battery charger this guy's selling?" You know, like I'm pretty sure he lives right across the street. You know, like. Because he had to get caught for this, you know what I mean? Like, like somebody literally was like, "Hey, that's my lantern right there that's missing." You know what I mean? The cops show up and you're like, "Charge him with burglary," and the cops are like, "No, sir, we're gonna charge him with burglary under $40. It's a very pathetic version of a burglary. It's like a petty burglary right there."
He was probably selling some kid's old jersey.
Right? It's got like their last name on the back. Like, "Hey, I'm Hutchison. That's my jersey right there. Guy lives across the street. I found the kid's jersey. It's on the Facebook Marketplace across the street."
Kid's probably like, "I told you I didn't lose it at the gym."
Like, can you imagine like stealing something under $40 and putting it on the Facebook Marketplace? Like, that's not even a full day come up. That's like enough for lunch come up right there.
Maybe not even that.
Like the most realistic scenario, it's probably like a pair of used Jordans that are so dirty the pawn shop wouldn't buy them back. You ever been to a pawn shop in the hood and they got used Jordans for sale?
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, it's weird.
That's just like the type of dude that would like steal your Jordans and then put them on the marketplace for like $39. Guatemalan failure to appear, no valid driver's license. Katie, what do you think would happen to him if he did appear?
He would have disappeared either way.
Guatemalan failure to appear for a no valid driver's license out of the Sefner area. Katie, what do you think about this guy?
He looks like he'd appear maybe a few weeks later and mow the rest of your lawn.
Yeah, he's not going to stay in Guatemala. This guy will be back to finish mowing your lawn. This woman is from Honduras. She has an ICE immigration hold for a no valid driver's license.
She looks like she's had enough of the United States.
And I think that's a mutual sentiment. I think the United States has had enough of her as well. Yeah, she doesn't look like she's enthusiastic about work. Like if I had a Honduran maid show up to my house, she better look enthusiastic about cleaning my house. This Tampa woman was arrested for impeding or threatening a law enforcement officer or first responder. This is a really common thing in Tampa. In Tampa, everybody is like really anti-police. So every time a cops show up to help somebody, like there'll be like a lady on a wheelchair that fell down and the cops are trying to help her go to the hospital. And you'll have somebody show up like, "Why you in my hood helping people? Hey man, look at the police, dawg. The police is in my hood, dawg." And the cop's like, "Man, we are just trying to help this elderly woman." Like, "Nah, you can't be up in my hood helping people and stuff because we don't like the police around here, dawg."
She definitely looked angry.
Yeah, it's like, this is like a totally, like every single time we go to Tampa, we see a scenario like this. Matter of fact, here's some footage of something like that. They're always like, "Why you in my hood, dog? Yeah, man, why the police in my hood, dog?" They're like, "Sir, we're just trying to keep the peace and security out here because there's 800 people brawling in your neighborhood. Like, we're just trying to protect you." "Nah, man, we don't want to be protected by the police, dog." I mean, what type of community do you want to live in? Like, this is the real mindset of people in Tampa. Like, people in Tampa are always harassing the police and law enforcement and even like paramedics and stuff. Like, what type of world do you want to live in where people are harassing law enforcement?
I'm the type of person who would harass the police if they don't show up enough to protect the area.
Right, yeah. Most people are harassing the cops for not showing up to their neighborhood. That's not Tampa. Tampa, they're harassing the cops because they showed up. And then you wonder why, like, your house gets broken into and your kids' football jerseys on the Facebook Marketplace. But she's a U.S. citizen. She can't be deported. But we have somebody who's undocumented. This Guatemalan got an ICE immigration hold for battery on an enforcement officer or emergency responder. So while the locals are threatening and screaming at the law enforcement, well, the Guatemalans are getting their hands. They're like, we're going to get this done. You guys are talking about it. We're going to do it. I mean, it's bad enough that the U.S. citizens are threatening the law enforcement and first responders, but it's even worse when somebody who's undocumented puts their hands on a first responder. And in the case of this Guatemalan, they put an ICE deportation hold on him. Like, what makes you think that if you're not legal in the United States, you're going to put your hands on a bus driver or an ambulance driver or some paramedics down there, and you're not going to get the deportation? And by the way, I don't know why this is so common, but many times a lot of people who are undocumented are charged with this crime. I think it's because like they get hurt and like they try to take them to the hospital and they think they're going to get deported if they go to the hospital. So they're like, get off me, don't touch me. And then they get charged with battery on an emergency personnel. And this is, by the way, the second undocumented person in the last week that we have discovered doing this. So it seems to be like a very prevalent thing for people to do. Battery on emergency personnel. Simply, like, could be a firefighter, could be a freaking, I think it's maybe like a firefighter trying to extinguish a fire, breaks into their house and they think they're going to get deported, so they attack the firefighters.
Don't touch me.
Don't touch me down here. I don't really know what it's about, but it's a very common thing. And of course, if you're undocumented and you put your hands on anybody that's a public service official, yeah, you're going to get deported, buddy. This Indiana man who looks like he'd wear bell-bottom jeans and listen to Diamond in the Back was arrested in Tampa, Florida for overvaluing, making a false statement about property. So most likely this individual took out a loan against a property and he overvalued it on paper to extend the size of his loan. Seems like the bank found out that the collateral wasn't good enough and he has an out-of-state warrant for that. This man from India was arrested for a DUI that led to damage or injury. He also lists his occupation as a clerk at the liquor store. You gotta love how Indian people will start advertising their business with their arrest bookings because they always list the name of the store where they work at, just letting everybody know what time it is. Most places in America, if you get arrested, your business loses customers. In Tampa, if you get arrested, you make sure to list your company on the booking information so you can get free advertisement. This man is Lebanese. He was arrested in Tampa for tags that were not appropriate, suspended driver's license, and he also had possession. You wouldn't believe how many Lebanese people get arrested in the Tampa area.
He looks like he could make a really good dinner for you.
Yeah. Like, that's what he's supposed to be doing as a Lebanese person. You're supposed to be cooking burgers with mozzarella sticks and stuff for us.
Isn't that our neighbor across the street?
Katie, that guy watches our YouTube videos. Be quiet. But, not gonna lie, I kind of saw the resemblance myself. If you're watching the video, bro, no offense. I mean, the resemblance is there. This man right here is Jamaican. He had Jamaican, and he also had coke with intent to sell. This woman from Jamaica was also arrested for battery. I think she looks a little angry.
She looks like she regrets what she did.
This woman right here is a U.S. citizen, but she left the scene of a crash. This is something you would expect somebody who would be undocumented to do, but somehow U.S. citizens do this as well. Very irresponsible, especially when there's an injury.
She looks like she wants to leave the jail, but that's not happening.
This Lebanese man was arrested. He's got warrants out of Polk County for aggravated stalking and threatening to commit a murder. Murder hero, murder hero. And when you write murder, you kind of have a little evidence trail there. But anyways, this guy is an aggravated stalker out of Polk County. What do you think Polk County is going to do when they get their hands on him, Katie?
He's going to have to sit on Grady Judd's lap and explain what happened.
Yeah, kind of like Santa Claus, but instead of getting gifts, you're just getting deported. Mexican national driving under the influence causing damage or injury, arrested in Hillsborough County. He's got turtle eyes.
Who needs the turtle vest when you got turtle eyes?
Yeah, and he's not going to hurt himself. He's going to hurt other people. Mexican national, no valid driver's license, and possession charges. You wouldn't believe what this Nicaraguan did. He was arrested for battery by strangulation. And where did they put him, Katie?
He put someone in a headlock and they put him in an ICE detention hold.
An ICE detention hold down there, Katie? Well, they put him on a detention hold down there. This Nicaraguan was arrested for driving under the influence, and he was also placed on an ICE detention hold. They're really not playing around with Nicaraguans. If you're Nicaraguan and you get arrested over here, they're going to put you on a deportation hold ASAP. This young lady was born in New York, so she's a U.S. citizen. She was arrested for organized fraud under $20,000. You wouldn't believe how many people from New York get arrested in the Tampa area. This man right here was also born in New York, and he also likes to steal. In his case, it's over 20,000, not under. Theft of state funds, more than $20,000. This guy was stealing directly from the government. If there's one thing the government doesn't like, it's competition. So just in the last few days, 2 people have been arrested in Tampa from New York engaging in fraudulent activities. This guy was also born in New York. He was arrested in Tampa for a little bit of herb, and they put him in the turtle suit. Can you imagine getting put in a turtle suit just for a little bit of herb?
He just likes the color green all the way around. Wouldn't surprise me if he had a green car too.
Yeah, he likes green herb, green turtle suits. If it's green, he's going for it. This elderly man from Ohio was arrested for battery with a weapon, victim over 65. I guess if you're over 65, your victim should be over 65 too. Meet Mr. Perez. He's Cuban, was arrested in Tampa for grand theft of a motor vehicle. Now, I don't know why he stole a motor vehicle, because he doesn't have a valid driver's license. He also committed criminal mischief, and he had some possession charges as well. Can you imagine going through all the work of stealing a vehicle only to find out that you don't have a valid driver's license? This woman from the Philippines was arrested in the Tampa area for battery. She likes to hit people. This man is called Robert Lee. He had possession of coke, possession of pipes, sleeping on a right-of-way, and storing personal property on the right-of-way. So basically, this guy was homeless. Could you imagine being black and being named after Robert E. Lee? That's horrendous. No wonder he ended up on crack. This woman's name is Sherladavia Shurkavivanche, and she was arrested with a very black name for having a stolen firearm. Can you imagine that? Being arrested for having a stolen firearm. On today's video, that's the 3rd person arrested in Tampa doing something with a firearm that they shouldn't have. The streets of Tampa are very dangerous. Actually, if you include the Uber driver, I guess it's 4 people. So the city of Tampa has a problem with loose firearms. What did they do to this woman when they named her? They could have gone with Lakeisha, Laquandra, Shaniqua, Laquandra. They could have given her a nice, decent black name. Sherdavia Shakaria Von Shea. Sherdla Shakaria Von Shea. Personally, I think Kiera or Keisha would have just been fine for her. With all the good black names out there, they got to try to come up with some new crap that don't even make sense. People of Tampa, there is no shortage of good and entertaining black names for you to have to try to come up with some crap like this. That's a new word right there, irritating. It combines the word entertaining with irritating. This man right here is from Tennessee. He was arrested for a no valid driver's license as well as a DUI. See, American people do the same exact thing too. People say, it's all these illegals that are doing the terror. Like, no, you're Derek Terror. This man right here engaged in a very serious crime. He installed a tracker on somebody's vehicle or property. That's very dangerous. Imagine that. You grab somebody, you put a tracker on them. Now you're keeping tabs on somebody. Are you going to hurt them? What are you doing? Why would you do that to somebody? I mean, the most logical thing is you're tracking them so that when they're in a place that's isolated, you can hurt them perhaps. This is a very dangerous crime, and this is the 2nd time that we see this crime taking place recently. So you guys be careful out there. In Bradenton, they're looking for a guy right now. The Bradenton Police Department is looking for him. He's an accountant, and for some reason, he did the same exact thing. These people are going out there and putting trackers on people's cars. It's absolutely illegal, and they're doing it. It's kind of like a new crime wave that we have now, people doing this. So be very careful out there. These are some very dangerous people, and one can only imagine their intentions of why they would do this to somebody. It's against the law, but it's becoming very common. So a while back, we were in our vehicle in Fort Myers, and somebody had placed an AirTag on our vehicle. Our phones were telling us that we were being tracked by an AirTag or something like that. So somebody placed an AirTag on our vehicle. So I don't know why people do this, but people do it all the time, and it is a crime, and a very serious crime at that. Why are you tracking somebody? It's creepy and very dangerous as well. The most logical assumption is that if somebody's trying to hurt somebody else, they would want to do it somewhere where there's no cameras or isolated. So just to give somebody the opportunity to catch somebody in a very unfortunate place or situation away from camera. So you're trying to catch somebody in a vulnerable position. This is a weird crime, and it's becoming way too prevalent. This man right here is also from New York, and he was arrested in Tampa for trafficking the fent. This man right here is originally from Texas, but he currently lives in Gibson, Florida, outside of Tampa. Driver's license suspended. So again, this is the type of crime you would expect somebody who's undocumented to be charged with, but Americans do these types of crimes as well. This man right here was ordered to stop going near somebody who was vulnerable for exploitation, and he violated that order by going near them. As we know, human trafficking is a huge problem in Tampa, and sometimes people like him are told to stay away from other people, but guess what? They still do it. Overall, I have to say there are some really scary criminals on the streets of Tampa, judging by these arrests. Down here in Southwest Florida, most of our people that are undocumented are being arrested for no valid driver's license. They're just trying to get to work. But I guess the Hispanics that live in Tampa are into a different world, a different social environment where crime and the prevalence of illegality is prevalent. Fraud, scamming, and criminal activity, even organized crime, seems to be part of life for people in Tampa. Here in Southwest Florida, like I said, our undocumented people are mostly being arrested just for trying to get to work. But when I see the crimes that are taking place among the undocumented community or those who are not fully U.S. citizens in the Tampa area, there seems to be a more serious concern here, with the crimes being of a more serious nature. It seems that for one reason or another, there is a lot of criminal activity on the streets of Tampa. And when you compare the arrests in Tampa to the arrests here in Southwest Florida, it makes the people in Southwest Florida look like nothing. In Tampa, crime is definitely out of control. Those are the recent arrests in Tampa that are ICE and immigration related, and a few others that are not ICE related, but I threw them in here as well just to remind you guys that it isn't just people who are undocumented who are breaking the law. Many times people want to put out the narrative that it's only undocumented people who are committing the worst crimes. Every once in a while you get one that does something horrendous, and like in the case of today's video, we saw how that person immediately got deported. So some individuals like Nicaraguans, for example, even if it's just a no valid driver's license, they're getting deported right off the bat.
And bad people don't just run into people from other countries. We got them here at home too.
Yeah, I mean, people are people no matter what. I mean, you got people that are U.S. citizens, and for some reason or another, they're getting arrested for the type of thing you would expect somebody who's undocumented to do. So at the end of the day, we're all humans. We all do the same exact things. But the laws are the laws. And if you come to the United States to commit serious crimes, we would hope you get a deportation. But the overwhelming majority of people in other parts of Florida that are getting arrested are not like this. I have to make a distinction here with Tampa. It seems like, when we look at the arrests out of Port Charlotte and Sarasota, it's always no valid driver's license. These guys are having possession, armed conflicts with people, they're hitting people, they're defrauding. Like, this is just a whole different level of criminal activity here in Tampa among the undocumented community, and that isn't the case here. I mean, most people here who are undocumented are just working, but I guess when you look at these arrests in Tampa, there's definitely some more sinister crap happening here.